Been one of the most frustrating, tedious, annoying, and rewardless processes I have ever been a part of in my entire life. Like an idiot, I decided to go to college. And in college, I've dedicated so much of my time to getting experience in the respective field I want to go into. I've had so many internships and even contract work that has sent me all over the country and even outside of the country. I am forever grateful that I've had these experiences, but I had worked so hard in college because I thought that it would make the process of getting a job easier. But now that I have spent the past 3 to 4 months looking for a job, I have been thrusted into the harsh reality that is adulthood. First off, I want to talk about internships. Now, I want to say that I am very fortunate to say that all but one of my internships have been paid ones. There are still so many companies out there that offer unpaid internships, which is modern day slavery. You are giving a multi-million-dollar company your ideas and your labor just so they can then use those ideas and your labor and give you nothing but a pat on the back for it. Hypothetically speaking here, you could build a project that potentially generates millions in revenue for the company, and the most they'll do is probably be like, hey, here's an entry level position that is probably underpaid, even though you've already shown experience that proves that you can handle more than this position that we're giving you. That to me is one of the biggest highway robberies that can be committed in modern day. For my next point, I would like to first bring up the definition of what an internship is. Google states that an internship is, quote unquote, the position of a student or trainee who works in an organization, sometimes without pay, in order to gain experience or satisfy requirements for a qualification. So, according to Google, an internship is used to give people experience. So, why on earth are there internships that require experience to gain experience? If you grew up in a bad environment and didn't have the resources in order to gain specific experiences, then I guess you're just gonna have to figure it out because you don't have experience in order to gain experience. I get so upset when I see these because even though I don't need internships anymore, I understand how hard it is to get an internship, and the fact that there are internships that require you to have experience before, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of calling it an internship. Like, call it something else. I don't know what it is, but call it something else. Okay, moving away from internships, now let's talk about finding a full-time job. I have spent countless hours fine-tuning my resume, writing cover letters, researching positions, even reaching out to my network in order to find a job. I went to college for many reasons, but the main reason why I went to college was to get a job. So, why has the hardest part of my college experience been finding a job? I partly blame all of the leaders of my internships because they hyped me up and they were like, you're such a great kid, you're gonna have no problem finding a job. Newsflash, it is not easy and has been tiring. I get tired of applying to job after job after job in order to just try to find some AI system that doesn't automatically reject my application because I didn't put the right words in. Now, I do want to preface that I speak from this perspective as an esports major. Yeah, I know. I want to work in gaming. I'm a nerd, blah, blah, blah. Okay, leave me alone. I don't know how it is for people who try to be doctors, nurses, lawyers, or anything that requires like extracurricular learning outside of college. But to me, at least, this process has kind of made it seem like having a degree hasn't really been essential to finding jobs. The degree I have doesn't matter nearly as much as the experiences that I have gained while in college. Maybe I'm a little egotistical, but I feel like I've worked hard to get my resume filled with internships and experiences. There were times where I sat in my dorm and I thought to myself, was this all even worth it? I've spent countless hours toning my skills and gaining experiences that could set me apart from other candidates, but it still just feels like it wasn't enough. And that's a very frustrating feeling to feel like you did everything that you could, but it still wasn't enough. I could only imagine how it is for someone who spent all of their time partying and having fun and doing whatever they wanted to do, and then all of a sudden it's senior year and they need to find a job and then they start panicking. Don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of fun in college, but my career has always been my top priority. Not everyone has their career as their top priority in college, and not everyone knows what they want to do with their life in college. I've known what I've wanted to do since freshman year, but yet I've had friends who are still figuring it out. And there's nothing wrong with them figuring that out because they're still young. Oh god, I feel old. But it sucks to know that because they spend time trying to find the person that they want to be in life, becoming an adult and getting a job is that much harder for them. And even though it's not directly a punishment, I could absolutely see how someone from that perspective could feel like they're being punished for it. Ever since I was a freshman, I was told that your net work is your net worth. This means that no matter what experiences you have in life, the people who you know are essential to advancing you in your career. Anyone who is watching this video, I want you to really sit back and think of how you have gotten all of the experiences that you've had in your life, whether it's someone referencing you, someone telling you to apply to this, or even someone straight up being like, hey, if you want to work here, I can give you a job because I like you. Having that knowledge makes me so envious of the rich kids in my school who have parents that own big businesses that they can always just work for their mom or their dad. It must be nice to have the safety net of no matter what you do in college, you always have a safety net of, well, I can just go work for my dad. Most people don't have that option. They go to college and they essentially have to figure it out. And there is no other option. It's just figure it out. Expanding on that, the amount of lazy people that I've seen in such high positions of power has been so enlightening to me. It's crazy how many people I've met in my life who are in such high positions of power and wealth, but yet they are just normal people. They're just like me. My favorite question to ask people in these positions are, well, how did you get to where you are today? And it always boils down to, well, I have a friend who just invited me to have this job, or I had a family member who had this position and invited me to get this job. You know how heartbreaking it is to know that even if you have the experience and you're more qualified than a person, just because the other person is buddy-buddy with the person, you won't get that position? That sucks. That's life, and that just teaches you that in life, you have to play chess, not checkers. Finding a job and realizing that I'm about to be an adult soon has been such a weird process. I look back and I don't have a lot of regrets, but I do miss the times where I was a kid and I didn't really have any worries in my life. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited to be an adult. There are many things that I'm looking forward to do, but the responsibility and the pressures that are ahead of me do kind of scare me. And I feel like the process that I've gone through of finding a job has just been a little taste of what real life is. I mean, I know I'm going to be fine, but that doesn't make the process of doing this any less stressful. If you're watching this video, I don't want you to feel demotivated and feel like you're never going to find a job, because that's not really the point of why I made this. I made this video more or less to rant so that I could feel better about my struggles. But if you need some positive affirmations, here you go. You are smart, you are talented, you are skillful, and you will find a job. And when you get there, you deserve to be in that position that you have earned. As for me, if this job stuff doesn't work out, I'm cutting down to below 10% body fat and I'm going on black.com.